Hello, Clinton Community School District Kings and Queens. This is Mrs. Unke on behalf of all of CCSD Elementary School counselors, Mrs. Boding, Mrs. Knutson, and Mrs. Engel, bringing you your SEL lesson for this week. I usually start my lessons at Whittier with saying hello in many languages as kids walk in the door. So, hola, bonjour, buenos dias, ni hao, alo, guten morgen, and aloha. Today, as problem solvers, our work is about calming our worries. We're going to talk about worries we have now and how we can calm them. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and there are so many changes we are all facing, especially one of the changes of being home every day instead of going to school, right? I know I miss everyone, and my middle schoolers miss their teachers and friends, and I'll bet you miss going to school too. Worries are a normal part of life, and we all feel worried sometimes. When we're dealing with changes, we might tend to worry more than usual. That's why we're going to talk about dealing with worries today. Some of the ideas we talk about today are coming from this book called, whoops, it's going to be backwards in there, What to Do When You Worry Too Much by Dawn Huebner. And it's published by the American Psychological Association. And that's where the activity sheet comes from as well, that you're going to be working on after you finish this video. Are you growing worries? Most things tend to grow when we tend to them. We're planting sunflower seeds right now here at our house. These are going to be 6-foot tall, huge plants someday. And what did we do to plant these, to get them to grow? Well, we planted them in some good soil, and we watered them regularly. We set them in the sunshine, and we tended to them a lot to make sure that they're growing. And they are starting to grow little teeny tiny sunflower seeds, as you can see right here. Worries are the same way. If you tend to them every day, they're going to grow. So our work today is to how not to tend to our worries so much. This book that I referred to earlier, talks about how worries are like tomatoes. And if you plant a tomato seed and you tend to it every day, they're going to grow simply by paying attention to them. And many children tend to their worries even though they don't really mean to. Pretty soon, what may have started as just a little seed of worry has become a huge pile of problems that you just don't know how to get rid of. So what are some things that kids worry about? Sometimes we worry about who's going to pick us up from school or practice. Maybe not right now, but when school's in session, we do worry about that. Some kids worry about tests or dark rooms or a new sitter. Some worry about nobody liking them. Some worry about going to school. Some worry about adults arguing, and some worry about COVID-19 virus. We're all worried, and we just need to learn how to deal with those worries. So we start to feel worries in our bodies. Our bodies are very smart, and they can give us hints of what we're feeling when we're feeling anxious or worried. On page 23, what you're going to do with this lesson is, it's going to be backwards in here again, but this is a picture of a body, and these are some words that are ways our bodies tell us when we are feeling anxious. We might get a headache, we might be breathless, we have a stomach ache, a racing heart, nauseous. I get the butterflies in my stomach when I'm worried, that's for sure. Oh, and then the other thing you're going to do is you're going to mark on your body where you might feel your worry when you get worried or anxious or nervous about something. So our bodies are smart, but the thing is we have to make sure that we want those worries to go away. We can deal with them and then move on and move forward. We don't want to get stuck in those worries. One of the biggest ways to get rid of worries is to talk to somebody about it. So you can talk to a trusted adult in your home or with a teacher. Hopefully we counselors are going to be able to communicate with you very shortly. And when worries that don't get shared, though, they do turn into headaches and stomach aches and behavior problems. They can make you feel breathless or tearful. So we want to make sure that we can talk to somebody about it or journal about it. Get on a notebook and start writing about what you're worried about. Sometimes just getting it down on paper really helps. Or you can draw if you're an artist and you tend to draw when you're worried, then that might help you feel better too. You can use logic to make it less powerful. Remind yourself that really bad things don't happen very often. And even if something bad does happen, you can get through it. You can ask questions and get more information about your worry. I had a student one time who was really worried about thunderstorms, and she was afraid of them, and we learned more about them, how they form, what the clouds look like, how they're created with something called a low pressure system, all sorts of things like that. And once she knew more about it, she was less worried about it. You can use any one of the calm down strategies we've talked about in class. Deep breathing is a really good one that I like. You can just simply take a deep breath in, put your hand on your stomach, and take a deep breath in through your nose like you're smelling your favorite cup of hot cocoa. And then you hold on to it for a second or two, and you breathe out real slow like you're blowing off a spoonful of that hot cocoa. Breathe in, 2, 3. Hold 2, out 2, 3, 4. So you breathe out just a little bit longer than you breathe in. Some of the other calm down strategies we've talked about would be a mindful moment where you just get to know your surroundings. You pick a color, like a color on your shirt or a chair you're sitting in, and you look around the room for other things that color. You could listen quietly and get real still, and for 20 seconds just listen to the sounds that you're hearing in your house or wherever you're at. You can think about how you feel inside. You can feel your hands on the table. You can feel your shirt on your shoulders or on your back, on your waistband, on your stomach, any one of those things in your mindful moment. You can use self-talk. I can do this. I'm okay. I am safe. You can use the doing something physical is also a really good one. Get outside, go for a walk, ride a bike. Tell your parents where you're going, of course. Bounce a ball, do something like that. Any one of those things, any one of the calm down strategies we've talked about are ways to deal with your worries. So these are the ways to help you feel better when you're worried about something. If we go back to our I can statement about calming our worries and ask yourself, did we talk about the ways we can calm worries? I think we did. You've got your worksheet or your activity sheet on which is on page 23, and you can follow the link to get to that sheet and do that worksheet. And for now, this is goodbye from Mrs. Unke at Whittier, Mrs. Boding at Eagle Heights, Mrs. Knutson at Jefferson, and Mrs. Engel at Bluff, your CC Elementary School counselors. Goodbye in many languages to our kings and queens. Tschüss, au revoir, zaijan, sayonara, adieu, adios, and hasta la vista. We look forward to seeing you next week in our SEL lesson.